The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters at Real Estate Marketing, Ardor SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate. I'm Tim Calloway. I have a very special guest for you today from the Great White North of Canada, Matthew Ablakan. Matthew, how are you?
I'm good, Tim. I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show, and kudos to you for creating content for your listeners.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited to hear your story today, and I'm sure my listeners will as well. I've done my due diligence, so I've got a little background, but they want to hear it from you. Tell me how you got started, Matthew, and how'd you get to where you are now?
So I bought my first property when I was 19 years of age. I got licensed as a realtor shortly thereafter. I was still 19, but really it all started, I guess, subconsciously with my parents when I was in elementary school, because my parents, when they came to the country they left like a communist regime and they wanted to come here, and they actually left the same place separately. They didn't know each other back home in the Middle East. Yeah, so they have their own journey, their own story of how they got here, and they left for the same reason: better opportunity, safer. They were being persecuted for their religious beliefs. And nonetheless, when they came here, like most immigrants, their educational credentials didn't transfer over with them. So they were teachers back home. They couldn't be teachers here unless they went through the system. So they did what most immigrants do, and they got into business for themselves. And entrepreneurship for them wasn't what entrepreneurship is today, in the sense of it's the cool thing to do. Everybody's an entrepreneur. Everybody's, just over broke. That's what we say.
Right.
Some entrepreneurs have jobs, JOBs. And my parents did it out of pure necessity. So they met here, they got married at a local church, and then they became convenience store owners, and then coffee shop owners, and different types of businesses like that were similar but different. And so on the weekends, we would help my parents go to like wholesalers where they would buy goods and supplies for a certain price and then sell it for more money, hoping to make a profit. So I learned the concept of buy low and sell high very, very early on. And I just saw that work ethic. Like, it wasn't something that they wanted to do. It wasn't something that was fun to do. It's just they had to do it. There was no other way about it. And so as I was getting into my high school years, I was working a part-time job in one of our outlet malls here. And our malls here are very popular. A lot of people go to them. And so I was working a restaurant job. So a lot of people from the mall would come in, get some lunch, get some dinner from the respective stores that were around us. And so I made a lot of connections in high school. And then that translated into, this person offers luggages and backpacks. You know what? Let me see if I can get a good deal on that. I'm in high school. People need, backpacks. Let me go see if I can get a good deal on some of the cool JanSport backpacks that were just coming out with different colors and all kinds of stuff. And so that person gave me a wholesaler price for $8, and I was selling them for $20 after school. So I had 2 lockers in high school, one filled with books, one filled with goods. And after school, I would just post up with black garbage bags full of stuff. Now, everything I sold, I wore. Hustle, man. Yeah. So like I had the JanSport backpacks, they were always black. And so they came out with white. White was the first one. So then I put white on, and everyone was like, where'd you get that? So I would sell it to them. I'd say, I'll just get you one. It's fine. It's $20.
I got it from Locker 431 right here. What are you talking about?
Right there. Yeah. So, and then, that translated into other things like fashion trends. Like if there was certain types of bracelets or necklaces people would want to wear at the time, I had connections with those as well. Or we go to China, what's it called now? Downtown China. Yeah. Here in Toronto. Yeah. We'd go Chinatown, whatever.
Chinatown,
and we would,
I'm not even sure we call it that anymore, so I don't know.
Yeah, like I want to be politically correct, but I'm just saying that's how they identify. But yeah, so
where the Chinese merchants are. That's
right. And we'd go there and we would, buy goods for a really good price, and we'd sell them and all that. So as I got throughout high school, I had my job, which was giving me a paycheck. And then I had all these other side hustles making me some cash. So I always knew I was an entrepreneur. I never liked school. My parents went to every single parent-teacher meetings, and the teachers would just say, this kid's not going to go anywhere. A couple teachers, one of my teachers told me and two other students in front of the class when I was in grade 6 that we were going to end up bagging his wife's groceries at one of the grocery stores here and her makeup at Shoppers Drug Mart, which is like your Walgreens. And yeah, it's just nonsense after nonsense that I had to go through, but I didn't care because it was all noise. I just didn't care. I knew what I was doing and what I wanted to do. So at 16, 17, I had mentors telling me, put all your savings into high interest savings account, which high interest in quotations, it's like 1 or 2%. It's not really high interest, but they were already helping me kind of find my path in terms of, how do you invest? How do you make money? And so in university, I attended university. My parents forced me to go to university,
Right.
And they never paid for it.
Answer for everything, right?
Yeah. And here's the thing, though, in the Middle East, certain countries, if you go to university, because their educational system, at least back then, was better than ours. They respected you. Like that degree meant something.
Right.
You were educated. So till this day, I have some clients on the real estate side that know that I went to university and deal with me just because of that. So
wow, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So it meant something. So I get it. But I think I speak to a lot of people that are listening to this podcast when I say, like, they have immigrant parents or they're immigrants. I mean, we're born in Canada, my brother and I, but we have that immigrant mentality.
Sure.
When I say that you kind of have to do it just to please the family, but really you're entrepreneurial. And so in university, they're not paying for my tuition. They made me go there. They're not paying for it. We come from low income housing, and we qualified for like student loans and bursaries and things like that. And they always give you more student loan than you need, so you could be in debt, bad debt. Right. And I used part of that when I was 19. I used part of that to buy my first pre-construction condo here in Toronto, Ontario. So pre-construction here works a little bit differently than in the States. It takes a long time for something to get constructed. So when I bought my condo, it took 4 years for it to get constructed. Yeah. So and by that reaction, that's how I know it's different from all the Americans I speak with. And so what that opportunity, that opportunity, what it did for me though, and the principles are still the same now, fast forward 11 years later, is you don't need the down payment up front and you don't need to qualify for the mortgage. So it allowed me to get into something where it was a little bit of a risk because I wasn't a realtor yet. I didn't have a lot of money, but all I needed was 15 grand to get into it. So that's what I did. I had some money saved and I had some money from my bursaries and my student loans. Mm-hmm. And so I put it into that. Shortly thereafter, became a realtor, and the rest was history. All I did was teach people what I was doing, and then I continued to buy more real estate. Now, with regards to how I got into that light bulb moment, which shifted my mindset, it was that paradigm shift. And we tell people all the time on podcasts that it's all about your mindset. Number one is I learned the concept of landlords make money while they sleep. And this was about 17, 18 years old. Learned that concept. The rest was history. So that's a little bit about my background.
Yeah, no, that's a great story, man. Have you written a book yet?
So you know what?
As a
matter of fact, we just launched something where we did it with a couple of Americans, Kevin Harrington, Robert G. Allen.
Yeah, I know Kevin Harrington. I don't know Robert G. Allen, but I know Kevin Harrington. Yeah.
Yeah. So we co-authored it. They published it, made it a bestseller. So I'll at the end, maybe we could talk about that, how your audience could get a free copy of that.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah. I live in West Palm Beach, man. I know them all. They're all, I live literally, I could walk, and I don't have this money, so don't be thinking that, but I could walk in 10 minutes to Tony Robbins' house, less than 10 minutes, maybe. I mean, it's just this whole, the water's right there. This whole
that's amazing.
Just full of, just everybody you could imagine. But I don't have their money. So no, that's fantastic.
Birds of a feather flock together too.
Yeah, I got to stay around them though, right? I mean, it's like it took me a while. I used to live in Arizona, and I go, nobody's got any money here. I mean, you never want to be the top guy, right? And so I came out here, and now I'm, it's a different world. So that's fantastic, man. I'm glad you got something together on that. So we talked about how you started. Tell me what's happening today. Like, I mean, if you want, Matthew, get into the day-to-day and what you're looking for and who you're looking to work with, and, take it from there. Give me the day-to-day.
Yeah. So at university, my studies were in my undergrad was in law, I should say. And then I also did teachers college. So we bring an education-based approach to our sales. And I use that word sales very loosely. We don't like to sell anything,
Right.
but we just guide people to where they want to go, but it's education driven. So on our social media, on our podcast, everything's always very educational. So I say that because as we started educating people, people saw us as the experts. And so business started to grow. And I never had a desire to open up like a real estate brokerage and hire 200 agents, where
Right.
10 of them, maybe less, are actually doing all the work. And I never had that desire. What I wanted to do was just continue teaching people what I was doing, and whatever I earned in commission sales, I'd continue to buy properties. And I had a mentor telling me, you should buy one property every single year. And then by the time you're 30, you might have 10 properties, and then you know, that's your retirement. So I was motivated by that goal. I was motivated before I got my priorities straight. I was motivated to retire by the age of 35. And I say that before I got my priorities straight, because
Right.
you shouldn't really ever want to look forward to
Ever.
retirement, but
Right.
you should look forward to, financial freedom, things like that. Those are good things, but retirement is that's when you die, I feel.
Right. That's where you're
So
going to die.
yeah. And so we're also Christians. We have Christian morals and values and upbringing and things like that. And I do believe in scripture and what it says. And there's a lot of power and
For
truth.
sure.
It's all truth. It's the basis of truth, in my opinion. So a lot of the young people listening to this, and we're fed so much, garbage on the day to day, like even on social media. Just stick to the truth, spend time searching for the truth, and everything's going to uncover. So as I'm going through this journey of personal development and enlightenment, I start thinking, I want to grow this business a little bit more. I want to grow it to something that's bigger than myself. And I don't want to create like a team that has to do with my name, Matthew Ablakan. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I want to create something that's sellable. One day I want to sell it. So with the end in mind, how do I go about that? And so first of all, I looked at Nike, Starbucks, and these companies. They all have one thing in common, and that's branding. They've branded their product. They are the authority. They can charge more, for similar products, or maybe even lesser type products compared to their competition. And so that's what I was thinking about. Who's my client? Who's my target audience? Who are my clients? I'm a millennial. There's, millennials out there. We're the largest demographic. We're about to be the largest demographic at this time that I was thinking this. Why don't I create something around that? And so naturally the word millennials came about. And then I was watching a TV commercial. President's Choice was on this TV. And I said, oh, Millennials Choice. Let's see if that's available. And then that was available. And so we secured it. So then now it's become a group of companies. We don't just do real estate. That's our core pillar, but we do offer mortgage services where we finance the deals for our clients through the big banks and alternative lenders.
Yeah.
And then we have an insurance division where we help clients, with estate planning and whole life insurance and permanent products, or if they have RRSPs and things like that. So it's a one-stop shop.
That's perfect, man. I mean, I love the idea of, or your idea, basically, of if the brand. It's really about the brand, right? I mean, you're creating a brand, and you'll be able to sell anything under that brand, right? I mean, anything that exemplifies real estate or education. I think what I hear from you, and I'm not a psychologist, but what I hear from you, I mean, that you're passionate about the education part, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got some really, so fast forward to today, like you asked, like we've got some really exciting news that we're going to unveil probably Q2 of next year for the education side. We started going into schools for free, local schools here, and started just talking to the high school students about financial literacy and real estate and things like that. But nonetheless, COVID kind of shut that down. And then to pick it back up, a lot of teachers I was noticing, they're just playing catch up. And a lot of teachers they were bringing us in at the last week of the school year. And it was like, kids are already, their mind is already on summer vacation, and
they're out.
So yeah, so we require the teachers to be proactive in that matter, in that sense. But so yeah, education is definitely the backbone of everything, and it's going to continue. And we got some really big plans outside of Millennials Choice. That's going to, I think, over the next 5 to 10 years, disrupt a lot of things.
That's awesome. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
You got to keep me apprised.
I certainly will.
Yeah. So, but I will say this, and not everybody will. acquiesce to this, or though not everybody will have an answer, because I don't know why, but a lot of real people, just in, let's say, retail realtors, maybe not so much to think like you do, believe that they have no problems, right? And I always say, hey, Matthew, if I were to come up and we were to have lunch together, and have a drink, a drink of water, whatever it might be, and just relax. And I go, hey, I got good news, Matthew. I got a magic wand here. You got one issue that kind of bites at you on a regular basis that you would like more, less of. What would that be? What could I fix for you if I had the ability to do so?
Probably one of the hardest things that I've been going through, especially the last couple of years, is finding the right people to bring on. And I know that's a big problem for a lot of people, and we have a lot of labor shortages in the province of Ontario right now, and maybe all across Canada, but we definitely have labor shortages in Ontario. So it's not the lack of the number of people in our industry, because a lot of people get into the real estate industry or mortgage industry because they want to make fast money, until they realize that it's not fast money. And
Never fast money. Right.
yeah, so it's about finding the right mindset, the right people with the right mindset, I should say, and growing that way. Because if we want to scale, and this machine is going to continue to generate leads and following and all that stuff, well, we're going to need people to service it all. And so we've had a couple of challenging situations these last couple of years with people, and it's very, very stressful, because the people we bring in to our business, we treat them like family. So we really get behind them and push them and motivate them. And then, when certain things happen, it's a letdown. So I never want to be the company where we have, again, 100 people and you don't want to talk to them and they're rude and this and that.
Yeah.
No, we want to hire good people. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult to do that. But what inspires me is like who we're becoming. And I know in that process, we're going to start attracting the right type of people to our organization. So, but that would be one problem I'd say. Get rid of it. Give me 5 good soldiers and we're good.
Right.
We're taking over this space.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And gosh, it's rough. I can't even tell you. I mean, just on the real estate side, on the construction side, I come from a construction background, and I can tell you now, people I talk to, hey Tim, I can't find someone to pay $30 an hour to hold a darn bucket.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll hold a bucket. I'll come hold a bucket for 3 hours. You give me a C note, and we'll just talk the whole time. Whatever. I mean, it's like, come on, 21-year-olds, come on, college students, whomever. But yeah, it's just tough, and it's shocking in a way. And so yeah, I sympathize with you for sure.
In the construction industry over here, there's like, we're such a new country basically, that there's so much construction like going on, and there are shortages where the government is now, provincial government of Ontario is now paying for people who want to go to school. They're going to pay for the schooling to become electricians, all that stuff. But nobody my age or younger, nobody wants to really work with their hands, get into a trade. Yeah, they don't want to work. If I wasn't,
trades pay, man.
They pay really well. And guess what? The people sitting at the top of those companies, they are wearing suits. They are wearing, they are driving fancy cars, but they worked to get there. So
that's right.
It's just a lot of people want this fast crypto money, and they want to, get lucky off of a crypto boom or something like that. And it's unfortunate, because I see them and I see what they're doing, or some people are just blowing their money, partying every weekend without any achievements to celebrate. And it's the mindset. It really comes down to it. And unfortunately, a lot of those people are second and third generation kids, where the parents are just kind of like, they'll figure themselves out. And we're not going to give them, we gotta baby them, they have anxiety and all this stuff. And it's like, guys, come on. Imagine our grandparents were, young and healthy and walking around and disciplining all the kids nowadays. It would be a joke. Every kid would need to be disciplined, basically.
I think it sent my dad to an early grave, because that's all he could complain about for the past. He just passed away in March, and all he complained about was the 18 to 25-year-old, because in construction, you have to have those people. You have to have those recruits, right? I mean, I have some scars on my arm right here from, man, let's tell you how old I am, from 1989, working for my dad as a welder. And in just 4 short years later, though, I worked on Wall Street. I worked for one of the largest firms on Wall Street in real estate investment trust. And then my life just evolved from there. But I did start out, this isn't patting myself on the back because I've had plenty of failures and we've all gone through failures, right? But man, I thank God every day that I did something, even if it's just to talk about it, right? Even if it's just to share that war story, right? And it's one of those foundations in our life, right? Whether it's hustling, Gen Sports out of your locker, whether it's, me welding and thinking, man, this isn't for me. It was for my dad, but it's not for me, whatever it is, we've always got that foundation. But I just know so many now, one of them with my last name, that are like, oh man, I just want to serve the donuts. And I'm like, really? Come on, man. So yeah, I get it. And I kind of applaud Canada for, maybe offering an opportunity like that, because we do need trades everywhere,
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah,
do.
we need it. And guess what? The 500,000 immigrants that are coming by 2025 to our country,
Yeah,
they're going to take all the jobs. They're going to take the food off of your table
that's right.
to the young kids listening to this that are just kind of finding themselves, which is great. Like, that's a great first step. But there's people coming to take the food off your table. And if you don't want it, that's fine. No one's going to take care of you.
Right.
And one day, mommy and daddy won't be there. And
That's right.
That's what it's going to come down to. I want to take care of my parents, not the other way around.
Yeah,
So,
it should not be the other way around. Is like I mentioned to you earlier, it's like, all right, guys, let's step up. I've done my part. I'm willing to interject whatever you need to take it to the next level. You're right. Yeah, it's good said. And I like, honestly, Matthew, I'm going to be brutally honest with you because I think I'm much older than you. It's refreshing to hear that from someone of your age group and your success as well. I think that's
I appreciate
very,
it.
very important. And that's something that I know you're passionate about teaching. Whatever it takes, though, get that word out. Make the videos, get them online, whatever it takes.
That's right.
So tell me, how would someone get in touch with you if they either want to, maybe they just need advice, maybe they want to sell you a home, buy a home, whatever it might be. How does someone get in touch with you?
So the easiest way is just by messaging me on Instagram. My handle is at Matthew Ablakan. Very simple, first and last name. And if they want a copy of my new book with Kevin Harrington and Robert G. Allen, they could just visit financialfreedomclub.ca/ebook. And ebook does not have a hyphen, it's just one word.
Ebook,
We'll get you
right.
guys a free e-copy. Yeah. And
Cool.
I'd love to get you one, Tim, as well. And
Yeah,
let me know what you think about it.
Yeah, 100%. I'd look forward to reading that and absorbing that. I'm always looking for something new, and I like what you have to say.
Thank you.
So always let my guest, I always say I'm just the DJ. I'm just spinning the records. You guys are the hits, right? So take us out. Give me a minute or two of whatever's on your mind, your heart, your soul, and you think that people need to hear. Doesn't have to be about real estate. Doesn't have to be about anything. It could be about your dog. Whatever you feel compelled here in the last minute or two to tell the audience.
Yeah, I think right now in the world, like wherever you are, whether it's United States or Canada, but other parts of the world, I think there's a spirit of uncertainty and a evil spirit that's looming around, and that's something that you could only conquer, in my opinion, by taking action and getting your mindset right. The society is really trying to go a certain direction that is not right, and it doesn't feel right, and we all know that. The removal of identity and the removal of God and the removal of all these things, that is actually what made these countries great and what made people from around the world want to come to these countries, is what's now being taken away or attempted to be taken away. So don't lose your identity. Know who you are. I know who I am in Christ, and other people know, that's really what the mission is. And you want everything that you're going to do, whether it's your investments, your relationships, you want everything to be blessed, and you want everything to be well. You don't want to take shortcuts. You don't want to do anything that's going to be kind of to your detriment, so to speak, because what goes around does. That is another biblical principle. And
Right.
you want to make sure that you're you're studying the truth. You know what's out there. You know that you're a person who's loved. You know you're a person who has, whether you don't have people around you, there's a creator, there's an intelligent creator, which you can
That's
see
right.
just
That's
by
right.
looking around. And so, yeah, I encourage all the young people to not lose faith and not lose sight of really what's important. And that's your identity and your faith and who you are in God and God's creation. And I read today something that, especially with like kids and, this whole topic of abortion and stuff like that.
Sure.
There's this theory of, you have to be like based on your own performance or quality of life. Like that's how you determine your value. And I think that's thrown around very loosely. I think, yes, from an economic standpoint, you should become more valuable. And so that way you can get the economic benefits. But as a human being, so many people faced with depression and anxiety and all that stuff, you are a valuable person in society. You're a valuable human being in society. There's people that do care about you. And I believe there's a creator who cares about you as well. So that's on my heart and mind this morning.
That's fantastic, Matthew. I really appreciate it. Great sound, sage advice for someone to come out and stand up for their principles. I admire that. I have a lot of respect for that. I want you to have a great weekend. Bless you and your family. I'll be thinking about you. And let's get back together in the next 3, 6, 9 months and see how things are going.
Let's do it. Thank you for having me, Tim.
Have a great weekend.
You too.